All right. All right. Okay, everyone. Hi. I am currently your host right now, but we are about to start the second episode in the AtoANI Learn series. And if any of you have any friends or people in your network that you think would be very, very interested in this topic, then please feel free to share the link, share this Facebook Live to them, and make sure that they share this link too, so that we can reach more people about this very, very important and very, very timely topic. So our topic today is something that has been widely talked about, especially if you've been looking into or following all things sustainability. So a lot of people have considered refills. And it's, especially in like barangays, on the grassroots level, it's a very common thing that people have already been looking into. So today we'll delve into that and we'll explore why it's important, even at a time that we're dealing with a pandemic. Right. Okay. So yeah, to give you a very, very brief overview, I am your moderator and host for tonight's episode. I am Harmony Adiao. I am a marketing, communications, and PR consultant by profession. So that's my day job. But I am also an ambassador and a volunteer for the NGO Make Sense. And I am personally very passionate about refills and sustainable packaging. So today we're going to be exploring all things refills and how that's going to impact us as consumers as well. So I'm very, very excited to be able to moderate tonight's session, because again, this is a topic that's very close to my heart. And I'm very, very honored to be joined by us. I am speechless. A panel of interviewees that really know this topic by heart as well. So before we go into that, let's go back to the last slide about the question of the day. So I want this to be a question that you guys talk about while we go through this discussion. So as I mentioned earlier, is it still really appropriate to talk about the refill economy now? Alam ko na a lot of us are dealing with just trying to survive on the day-to-day. So the question is, why should we talk about refill economy now? So to help us answer those questions, again, like I mentioned earlier, we have a very professional panel of speakers tonight that really haven't just like theorized about this or haven't just studied about this, but have lived this kind of situation. So to introduce our panelists very briefly. So first, I'm going to introduce them very, very briefly, but they will be introducing themselves to, so that we can get to know them a little bit more before we ask them all the hard-hitting questions. So first, we have co-founder and CEO of Salin, Krishia Ellis. Chief Creative Officer and co-founder also of Salin, Donna Formalejo. And their co-founder and their resident scientist, Jonas Dumdum. So I'm very, very, very eager to introduce them again one by one, and so that they can talk about their own experiences about rethinking consumption in a refill economy. First, we have Jonas.
Hi, guys. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you're in the world. So my name is Jonas, and my role in Refill on the Road, now Salin Philippines, of course, is resident scientist. So what does that mean? So it means that anything that is related to material sourcing, the science of refilling, as well as the sustainability portion of Salin PH is under my expertise, I guess. And I also act as the consultant for the whole team in terms of trying to get companies that are into the sustainability sector, so more of the solid waste management or waste management practices, to work with us, and also for us to work with others who are willing to do so in their own respective fields. So that's me in a nutshell, basically. Thank you.
Awesome. So thank you for that, Jonas, and it was very nice hearing from you. So the next one is the co-founder also of Salin, Donna. So we've met. We've also met in Make Sense, if I remember correctly. So yeah, let's hear it for Donna.
Hi everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm basically the creatives person over at Salin PH. I really like to bump into interdisciplinary things. Like if Krishia's working on the product, I want Jonas to be, in sync with her, and I try to connect them together to come up with a design or to really talk about the ideas behind this, because the refill economy is really, it's not there yet, but we want it to be there. And I think creatively talking about it and bumping into the interdisciplinaries of things like science and art, it'll help. So yeah, that's basically what I do right now.
Awesome. So I like that. I like the reality now. We're not there yet. The refill economy isn't there yet, but we are definitely getting there, and we're definitely making waves. So I think that's what's important. And of course, last but not the least, let's please welcome Krishia, one of the co-founders also of Salin PH.
So, good afternoon, everyone, or can I say good evening, actually. Hey, Harmony. So glad to be here. So, again, I'm Krishia, and I'm the CEO and co-founder for Salin PH. And we're formally called as Refill on the Road. And basically, I'm the person who makes sure that everything is moving, and whatever is needed to be done, I make sure that I do it. I'm a proud mom to my 1-year-old daughter there in the picture. That's Ellie. Ayun. And I have 7 years of startup experience, and it's ranging from software engineering, product development, product management, and now I'm mainly focusing on UX research. Siguro to tell you more about our journey on Refill on the Road initially, no? So Donna and I started this journey last November 2019, last year. And we joined a hackathon in Make Sense. And from there, we grew our team. So my fiancé, Elros, actually joined us, helping us on partnership. And then later on, Donna introduced me to Jonas. So we're currently 4 in the co-founding team. And we're currently actually employing around 2 to 4 people to help us out on operations. So I mentioned that we started way back on 2019 as Refill on the Road. And we started operationalizing like this last February. And I think just about 2 months ago, we realized that Refill on the Road in itself is only just one platform. Because what we wanted to do under that is like to provide a mobile refilling service. But we realized nga na it's just a channel, and we need to change the brand such that it would encompass all the things that we want to do and all things refilling, and make sure that it actually shows what our vision is there.
Okay, so I was actually about to ask why the decision to rebrand from Refill on the Road to Salin, because I get that now. I understand now na mas all-encompassing nga yung Salin. Plus, it has that very compelling Filipino factor to it. So talagang ang ganda na ng advocacy niya, tapos proudly Pinoy pa. So I think that's something that a lot of people can resonate with, especially now na the refill economy is gaining traction in the country and we're not sure, I don't know, like we're not sure kung ano yung reception ng mga tao. So I think with this kind of movement or with this kind of advocacy, it will be easier to get a lot of people on board. So thank you so much, Krishia, and thank you, Donna, and thank you, Jonas. So right now, we're going to start with the question and answer portion. So these are pre-asked questions. I want to call it that. These are pre-asked questions. So we're going to, I suppose, bahala na kung sino gusto sumagot. But I'm co-determined na to eh. But yeah, I want this to be like as interactive as possible so that we can touch on as many points as we can, especially because we're trying to really cultivate sort of the conversation around the refill economy. So the first question, what is your guys' opinion on the way that people consume products nowadays? And of course, how has it changed due to COVID?
So maybe I'll go first, no?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the general perspective first and like the COVID season. Yeah. So in general, actually, our generation is an over-consuming, throwaway society. So parang masyadong nosebleed. But what I mean by that is we buy a lot, we eat a lot, and we shop a lot. And in the process, we throw a lot of waste. And may it be like food waste or stuff that are broken that we just tend to throw away, plastics in general, and also what we call single-use plastics. And it's actually about normal na lang for us to like buy products wrapped in single-use plastic and then after consuming, we throw that away. And looking back, actually, ironically and interestingly, that I found article before, like it talked about the one who invented the plastic. I actually forgot his name, but when he designed plastic, he saw it differently, such that he made it such that it's durable and it can be reused and reused and reused. So sadly lang, like right now, our tendency really is to throw them away once used. And maybe about the COVID situation right now, it's actually sad then that we are moving steps back from like our progress in terms of reducing our single-use plastic. And it's mostly out of necessity. I actually heard one webinar of Jonas about this. Maybe you could share some like data specific stuff. But in terms of health, we must protect ourselves such that for restaurants, it's imposed that they should use disposables. Of course, we know about the medical waste. So yung mga mask and the PPE, so it's everywhere. And since we're staying at home, there's lots of delivery wrapped in plastic, like so much plastic. And even the usual option in the grocery where the products are wrapped in plastic. So yeah.
Okay, so actually, Krishia kind of simplified the answer. The situation is actually complicated, and I'll start with the first question. The plastics. Krishia is actually right on the approach on the original invention of plastics. The first plastic actually, and this I made in the laboratory before. I'm a chemistry graduate of UP Los Baños, and one of the things that I did as part of my actually it was a lab experiment is this material called bakelite or bakelite. So it was built, I mean, it was made in the late 1800s, and the intention was really to create products that are similar to one of these. So long-term, durable products that are not as heavy as this. I mean, this is ceramic. This is very,
Oh,
very
yeah,
heavy.
it is.
Plastics are quite light and like carry the same capacity. Now, the reason why there is single-use plastics is because of one, convenience, two, the economics of scale actually play a role, and three, cost. Because if you create something, a plastic that's big like this, um, sorry, Starbucks. By the way, this is a Starbucks mug. It becomes very, very, very expensive. And if you want to have a rapid paced company to grow and grow and grow, you need to keep the cost down. So you really need to design products that have less material in it. Therefore, it gives way to single-use plastics. Now, in the Philippines, the reason why there's an increase in plastic is directly related also to the increase in population of the Philippines in the past uh, 20 years. Right now, the population of Metro Manila is 12.9 million people. And it's one of the most densely populated metropolitan cities of the world, which consumes a lot of plastic, so much so that in 2018, there was a study that said we're the uh, third most criminal, I guess. No, we're the most
You
prone
could call
to
it that.
to just throw our plastic towards the oceans. Why the oceans? Because some of us, I'm not going to give specifics as to which areas or what demographic. Some of us just tend to throw waste away, um, and that's a bad thing. As with COVID-19, yes, there was a webinar that I was involved with, and it was with the Asian Institute of Management, which I cited that in the first, I believe, 2 weeks or 1 month, but anyway, within a certain duration of the ECQ, there was a 10 to 15% increase in single-use plastic wastes. And where did that come from? So it came from packaging. Packaging from your online shops, packaging from your food delivery, packaging from even simple things. And although that is predicted to fall now that we're trying to get to MGCQ and hopefully the new normal, uh, the habits will not actually immediately change. Why? Because we've been stuck in here, basically a quarantine for more than 100 days. So we developed a habit. And it's also it's also trouble because it's not just that. You also had that habit of the face masks. And the face masks are also cousins of single-use plastics. So that becomes another concern. But of course, this is not related to single-use plastic, but it's something for people to think about. That um, there should, or somehow, we need to think about a balance between convenience and like some sort of practicality in saving the environment. And honestly, it's going to be, it should be a big discussion in the years to come.
I could not agree more, Jonas. Like it's been a very timely discussion, I guess. Na a lot of people are saying that health comes first, of course. Like our benefits as humans come first because ang hirap na hindi gumamit ng plastic, especially now because mainly I guess because it's so easy to disinfect, first of all. So I think that's one of the biggest factors as well. But I am holding on to this little tiny bit of hope that we're not completely or 100% taking so many steps back, because like I'm hoping that if anyone is watching right now and they're stuck in quarantine and they're realizing all of their consumption, like their online delivery is guilty, and they're like plastic, like all of that plastic piling up, there's this hope that people see that and then they realize na, oh my gosh, 100 days na yung 100 days pa lang nakakalipas, and this is how much plastic I already have. Like, I hope they have that like awakening or that realization, so that once all of this is over, if it's ever going to be over, I hope it's going to be over, then maybe they will bring that consciousness with them and parang realize that we can do better to not rely so much on plastic. But thank you for that. Like it's very insightful how consumption has really changed, especially because of this pandemic, the likes of which none of us have ever seen. So on to the second question. What are, in relation to that, now, what are the current practices in consuming plastic? And I guess by current, we could give it a bit of a time frame. Like maybe we could go 2020.
Hey, Harmony.
Hey.
To simplify it, plastic does make it easier for us to consume. For one, imagine a large vat of laundry detergent, right? There's so many people scattered around the Philippines. So how do we get all of that laundry soap from this one warehouse to millions of Filipinos around? And of course, the easiest answer would be plastic, because it's lightweight and it's cheaper than if you were to get a glass of laundry detergent, right?
Yeah.
So it makes things faster, more accessible, and cheaper because of its nature. So to store any amount, it's lightweight or it's heavy. Plastic makes it easier to move. So Jonas, can you take over?
No, the practice of plastic, you can think about it in, I guess, 2 to 3 ways. So the most immediate is single-use plastic.
Yeah.
And to be fair to single-use plastic, there are instances where you have to use single-use plastic for reasons of sanitary. For example, it is highly advised for putting your meat products in single-use plastics, because if you put it in, let's say,
reusable.
A reusable microwavable container, and then you don't throw it and you don't wash it properly, then there's that risk, the health and safety risk. Okay. Second of all, are what I call the hybrid single-use hybrid single-use refilling or reusable plastic. And this is true for some communities that, let's say, do not have, for example, a water container or like anything that can store liquids for a short time, and they would use, let's say, a Coke bottle, although that's actually not advisable, but they do it. And then there's also the guys who are, I hate to say zero waste. I'd rather use the term net zero impact, but those are the third category, and they're really into that practice. Of course, the first category, more of the majority, but actually in 2020, what COVID-19 has taught us is that we have to be more practical in our use in single-use plastics. And movements have already started to shift towards like the reduction of single-use plastic. This is great. I just want to say, though, that the pace is slow, and we just need to make it faster.
Yeah. There was a study done by Gaia that we actually consume 163 million pieces of sachets per day. And that was before COVID. That was before COVID. So can you imagine the volume of it today or in the coming months, where everyone just wants to pour? So I don't have the fresh data right now, but 163 million pieces. In addition to, if you were to visualize that, it's like you were walking on 1 foot of plastic, and it covers the whole of Metro Manila.
So and I'd like to add, no, when you say sachets, it's not just one kind of plastic. I mean, sachets are like layers. So you got one layer that is a plastic, and another layer that's another plastic, and then you got aluminum, I believe. Then at the other end, it's the same. So if you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe we could reuse or recycle sachets. No, you can't. It's like Tetra Pak. It's just bunched up together, and it's very difficult to separate the components of sachets. So what else could you do? You either throw it in the landfill or, incinerate it. But incineration is not allowed in the Philippines by virtue of the Clean Air Act. So you're going to have to throw it in the landfill. And that's not good.
Yeah. Because like, what happens after the landfill? But then it pays to sort of point out that plastic isn't the enemy. I think the real enemy is the disposal of plastic. I don't know what you guys think about that. But
well, actually, there's been some sectors which say that it's the companies that made those plastics that should be responsible. But somehow I disagree, because companies are actually influenced by behavior of people. To think about it even more, there was an interview that was made by a podcast called Sustain a Rumble to DNR Undersecretary Benny Antiporda, where he said that the history of single-use plastic started in the 70s, where people were really into convenience, because the trajectory of Metro Manila's economy was, although early Marcos years, there was high, so there were people that want convenience. So it's not really the question of who to blame. It's more of how to tackle it. How to tackle convenience, but not destroy the environment, if you will.
I'm gonna have to agree, because I work in marketing, so I understand that brands really have an inclination to listen to their market and to get a pulse of what people need, or create a need that people think they need. So I think it's a hand-in-hand thing. But then let me just segue to the next question, because this is sort of connected then. Given all of that, how can we possibly address this consumption behavior? Because this behavior is something that has gone on even before COVID. So it's already been going on, like you guys said, from the 70s. So how do we address it? How do we slowly change it in a way that's not baby steps? Because with the rate that everything is going right now, baby steps just won't cut it.
So actually, I can talk about the systemic problem and how to address it. But as Jonas has said, I want to be more practical this moment, honestly, and focus on the things that we can control. Because what he said, the FMCGs should be to blame. It's another conversation on its own. But I guess what we can control as consumers, like what you said, Mena. The activities of the companies are driven by the purchasing behavior, the the preferences of the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess on a personal level muna, no, it's for us that knows the problem, we should provide awareness that like what Donna said, na we usually tell that to people that did you know that we Filipinos throw away 163 million single-use plastic sachets every day. So that alone is actually like, it really shows how big of a problem this is. So like when we consume sachets kasi we don't think about the bigger problem and we say, oh, it's just one sachet. But if everyone else in the Philippines will say that every day, so imagine how much sachet. And yun nga yung data, like 163 million. And I think for us then that knows about it and are aware of the problem, we should actually practice it ourselves. Because there are actually people that they know the problem, but they don't act on it, and they see the problem, but like their actions are different. So we should practice it on ourselves and like do the additional labor. Actually, like on a personal level, we're trying to like reduce our waste talaga. Like we do composting, we segregate our trash. Excuse me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can
Go
I
for
just
it. Go, Jonas.
build up on what Krishia said?
Yes.
Actually, I'm gonna share this, Krish. Although we're still in the early stages, though, is that part of our strategy at Salin Philippines is actually to gamify consumption behavior. How we do that? We give them some sort of power to uh, improve themselves by telling them that because you did this act, for example, refilling, then you save this X amount of plastic, probably, if you want to go nerdy, X kilograms CO2, X kilograms of X liters of water.
Yeah.
And people will probably think, oh, we're contributing something to the environment. And this is something that we're not really thinking about, because we're always saying, oh, plastic is bad, but that plastic is here, so plastic is good. So we, to address this, we need to give them an incentive by saying, no, if you do this, you get to save this amount. And actually, if you don't, you just don't equate it to, this, like the material stats. You could also say, oh, because you did this, you actually saved X amount of pesos. So from there, people will get encouraged and transition, hopefully. But of course, that's something that's still in the pipeline in Salin Philippines, and we hope to formalize it in the future.
That really sounds very compelling, because on its own, telling people that, oh, plastic, if you do this, then this is how much plastic you're saving, ganyan, ganyan. On its own, it's not something that will really drive a person to do it, because people aren't naturally that selfless. So if there was a certain what's in it for them factor, even if it was just as simple as like gaining points or whatever, or like certain digital or like mobile apps, mobile banking apps too, they have initiatives that if you make this transaction, then you're contributing to the environment in this way. So if there was that kind of initiative, I do think that there's a more there's a more compelling reason to change the way we consume and to consider refills.
Right. I actually want to highlight a bit more about what Jonas said. I think for Salin, it's really an exciting journey for us, like to somehow influence users' behavior in a good way, like make them choose refilling, or actually not choosing, more like go back to refilling, go back to tingi. Later on, Donna will talk about that kasi we've been tingi economy for the longest time. So for us nga, like, we want to change the behavior of people by providing incentives, and at the same time provide cheaper, or if not cheaper, like something accessible and affordable. So it cannot not just be cheaper but affordable for them. Kasi with our products, we offer refills, so it could be on a paper pack, and we actually have reusable containers with us that they could actually reuse. And so yeah, that's one thing, like providing alternative. Second is changing the behavior. And third is, this is a bigger thing, which is to transform how businesses are done. Because if we are the only ones that will do this, like it's gonna be hard and it's gonna be a long journey. But if we go say B2B, like we influence other businesses, we help them transform their businesses into not using single-use plastic. We offer their products in refilling. So the effect and the impact would be greater than if we're the only ones selling refillable products. Yeah.
I agree, Krishna. No, I'm glad you actually brought up access and the tingy economy, because I think those two really go hand in hand. Like, the reason I think that we even have a tingy economy is because it's so accessible to most of our, if not majority of our kababayan. So, as the question was flashed nga earlier, what even does a tingy economy mean for people who don't understand it, and how does it tie into the whole accessibility issue and this whole refill issue? What does this tingy economy have to do with anything?
So the tingy economy, for me to visualize it really is, for the masa, right? Our kababayans who are living below the poverty line, who are, daily wage earners. They have that. I think it started from there that we want. Brands wanted to give them access, and the best way to give them access is to make it cheaper for them. And that's when, I think it was around 1995, we interviewed some in trash pickers in Smoky Mountain. And she said that the influx of these sachets actually started around the 90s, 1995. Yes.
Interesting.
So
So
actually,
nanonotice nila yun, no?
yeah, I actually asked her that. And what's funny is we can still dig up those sachets today. Yeah, they're still there. So what makes the tingy economy work is really the price sensitivity for everyone. It's for everyone. But that, I think, is wrong because there's a price for that convenience, right? And we don't see it. So you're actually paying for more than what in the long term. Right? So if you can imagine 30 pesos worth of 100 ml, but they're in tingi-tingi. So that's maybe 10 pieces. But as compared to a bottle, which is at 100 pesos, pero 500 ml siya. So actually, you're paying more for that tingi than you are for that bottle. Because this 100 ml costs 30 pesos. Times 3, times 5 is actually 500 as compared to your 300 peso bottle. So yeah, I think Jonas can talk more about the ethos behind the tingy economy as well.
Okay, so when you say tingi, the psychology is that you have more power if the quantity is smaller. Kasi, sorry, this is probably because if you buy something big, I won't say it's the belief, but an idea or a belief is that if you buy big, the cost will also be big. But in reality, it's like a concept of wholesale versus retail, where actually, if you're going to go with wholesale, you actually get to save money in the long term compared to retail. So buying big sometimes does not mean very, very expensive. If you combine every small purchase that you have, it will actually cost more than the big one. But then again, you also have to consider that the on the ground situation, that people's budgets are shrinking, especially now during the pandemic. And so they're most likely going to lean to something that is more controllable to them, which is smaller products, because they would buy what they need more
when they need it.
When they need it. If it's not an immediate thing, don't buy it. It's something like that kind of thing. But in the long term, it's not the case. No, it's not the case. Of course, we can't. Well, we have to face realities on the ground as well. But what we're trying to put out here is that we have like an ideal situation, and it's up to them to how to adapt it and make it more practical.
So yeah, I think it's a lot of there's a lot of interlocking factors that'll take some time to unpack. But like one of my biggest takeaways from that was that the sachets only parang nagkaroon lang ng influx of sachets in 1995, and that's just a couple of years back, a decade-ish. But it just means that there definitely was a time when sachets weren't a thing. And I still remember whenever I see a new commercial on TV that says like now in little sachet packs, and I sort of cringe, and like that was not necessary. But then that would just be my opinion, because like there might be people who actually rejoice at the idea of a more compact or like a thingy friendly SKU. So I think, and I agree with you guys, that it really, really has a lot to do with access and of it being cheaper than what zero or like zero waste typically is portrayed as. Because I know that there's a lot of a misinformation that zero waste is expensive. Like going zero waste is expensive. But I think it also pays to understand that if you just refuse to use it and like gamitin mo lang yung diskarte mo, then maybe there is a chance that we can really reverse this or eliminate it. Which brings me to our next question. What is your opinion on the current global plastic waste problem? And do you think we can eliminate it? Maybe not immediately, but do you think it's possible? So I know we've talked about this already in a few of the previous questions, but let's zero in on the now. Like really, what do you think the effect of this will be to our plastic waste problem?
Krish, you want me to start with the answer?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So the prediction is that it will actually increase, which is true because of COVID-19. But with the event of alternative sources of packaging and the return actually to older sources of packaging. So what do you mean by older sources of packaging? Like, for example, cheesecloth. Or abaka. Or actually, if you want to be really stylish, like pineapple cloth, that's something that's already been actually, it was actually not really old, but it's more of a mainstream now. Don't you just use it as part of your barong, but also as part of your packaging. Um, so people are innovating ways to counter the plastic problem. At the same time, um, provide a way to be stylish and to profit. And it's something that people should really think about, when it comes to these things. So hopefully, in the long term, I'm quite hopeful that in the long term, we can really put a big dent on single-use plastic. Now, can we really eliminate plastic? And this is something that this is actually the reason why I don't like the term zero waste. No matter what happens, you will definitely generate waste. It's just part of nature. What you could do, however, is to mitigate or adapt to that circumstance. How do you do that? One way is through refilling. And it's something that we in Salin PH, and hopefully you guys at AtoANI would be able to utilize, explore. So creativity is out there. I'm not saying that it's not. I mean, we remove single. It's bad to say that you will eliminate single-use plastic, but hopefully we can put a big dent and say that it will be close to negligible in the very long term, and hopefully we can do that here in the Philippines.
That's the dream. That's definitely the dream. At least get people to consider also na hindi naman pala natin kailangan ng plastic. That, there are other ways and more local ways, especially since a lot of people are really into the whole support local thing. So, yun. Krishia.
Right. I just want to reiterate what Jonas said about zero waste, no? Because it was a discussion that the team had, like, parang for, I don't know, like for a month, we were discussing, like, should our vision be zero waste or net zero impact? So Jonas was the one who introduced us to that term, the net zero impact. Kasi mas popular yung term na zero waste, diba? So, and zero waste actually means nga na you don't generate plastic talaga, like literally. And yun nga, it actually made more sense to me that it's not possible not to generate plastic. Kasi on a personal level, I was thinking with my daughter, kasi nga she's teething right now. So what's happening is that the baby bottle nipples that she has, like she can tear it into pieces like after a week of buying one. So that's plastic. So I'm not sure what alternative I could have with that. Not that I know of. So like I feel like it's really not possible to go zero waste talaga. And it's really more of mitigating it and going net zero impact. And we talked about you were asking about like the global plastic waste problem. And we know nga na the top FMCGs are producing those packaging. And we know na it's based on the user behavior, but I believe that they should still do something about it to take part in reducing or mitigating or making sure that it goes back to them and making sure that they do something about it. And that's actually one of the things that we're touching right now. Like we're continuously getting in touch with FMCGs so that we could actually offer their products as a refill. Because from the research that we have, on some aspects of her life, like for example, sa personal and even home care products, the reason why people don't go refill on most of those products is because they have a preference na in terms of the brand. So it's hard to like transition into refill and parang transition in a different quality or different product overall. So what would be great really is to offer refilling from the FMCG companies.
That would be a huge step forward if branding and like brand familiarity really also has a lot to do with behavior. So in order for us to, as Jonas said, dent that plastic problem, so to speak, we really need to get those influencers going. Like, yes, if this person can do it, then hopefully the idea that everyone else can do it proliferates, because that's very, very, very important for awareness, kumbaga, nung refill economy. Like, it's possible.
Yeah.
Even in the time of a pandemic. Jonas, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Can I just ask the panel, have you ever wondered why Sprite's, a bottle, a 1.5 liter of Sprite has changed from green to clear?
Clear. Ooh.
I think it's because it's easier to recycle.
Exactly.
The white versus the green.
Exactly. So Coca-Cola is now, as an example of what Krishia is actually looking at. Coca-Cola is actually buying back some of their manufactured plastic so that they can remelt it and reuse it to create more to create a more sustainable chain of Coke bottles. Now, you can't recycle. I mean, we can't recycle and reuse it forever, but you're taking away a significant portion of plastic waste coming from Coke bottles, and reuse it. Therefore, you're reducing. They're also reducing their plastic footprint and their emissions footprint, and contribute to the solution. If they can do it at our level, we can also do it.
Yeah. That's actually an excellent example. Thank you for bringing that to life, Jonas. Jonas. Kasi I think it really shows and drives the point that if the brands, like those big brands, for example, if they take the responsibility for it, then minsan mawawala ng choice din yung mga tao. They just have to take what is given to them. And di nila alam, it's actually a good thing already, especially, for example, yung recyclable Sprite bottles. So that's a very good example of how these big companies are taking responsibility for their own footprint and how we can contribute. Because I have faith in the fact that all these past years of sustainability making noise and really being almost an annoying buzzword in the marketing sphere, for example, like every other company wants to stamp the word sustainable on their brand somehow, some way, then I really think there's something we can do to influence the bigger influencers to do more. So ang daming connections. And again, in connection with that, the last question right now is for the panel and for anyone watching, how can we address the plastic waste problem in our own little way? So I know we talked about how baby steps are not, ideal right now, especially with the whole situation going on. But if there was a way for us to make a big impact, even with the baby steps, then how would you guys do it? Para action plan na rin, action steps that people can emulate.
I think the fact that you're acknowledging and you know about the problem is the start, right? You're going to address it from your standpoint. Like, you're gonna meet yourself where you are. Like, brands should meet the consumers where they are, and we should ask these hard questions to each other. Like, we should keep these conversations going, because the fact that I'm here right now is part of that. Because I'm not from this industry. I'm from the advertising industry. I'm from the entertainment. Paano ba ako nakapunta dito? It's because I realized something that I was contributing to this problem. And if there was a way to solve it, I felt that I had the sort of maybe capability, because I felt the need to go into this because I researched about it. So yeah, I wouldn't be here if I didn't go out of my way to research about the plastic problem. And now I'm kind of going into that career shift from the entertainment and advertising industry. Like, how can we bump into these walls? How can we have these hard conversations with scientists and product makers? So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I hope to bring people together, and hopefully people will start doing those little things. Like for me, I started out with a straw. So it really depends on your lifestyle. If you do milk tea, if you do coffee, if you cook, researching ways on where to find those products. I'm sure they'll find something about it, just so long as they have the interest, and if it's there, yeah.
So I have three things, no, like the little ways that we could do in order to take part in solving this plastic waste problem. It's easy to say, like, one is refuse, but we don't actually do it. And parang, like, for me, as much as possible now, we don't use plastic now. But then I realized that when we go to the wet market, we still let the tindero to, like, put it in a plastic. And when I saw that, I actually told my fiance to, like, say no and bring, we have the multi-pocketed canvas bag kasi, produce bag. So, like, it solves the problem that you could separate each variety of fresh fruits and vegetables in just one eco bag. So there's that. And I think saying no, it's hard to, like, do that habitually, but if you start saying no, it's actually fulfilling because you're actually super reducing your plastic waste. Second is it's reducing, such that you use whatever you have. Like, if you have containers from other products that you bought, you could actually use that as a container for another thing. Or maybe if that same product has a refilling, bring that back to the supplier, to the store. So for example, see human nature, no? Uh, there's a soon announcement about them with us, but then again, they have physical stores before COVID, but I guess they're a bit of their refilling stores are open now, and you could actually refill those containers and even other clean containers that's usable already. So yeah, use whatever you have, say no. And the third one actually is support small initiatives. And it's not just us that are doing something about this problem. There's lots of initiatives. There's a lot of brands that actually support sustainable. And shameless plug. It's not ours or something, but I really like humble sustainability. So there was one time that I found them, and they said that they can pick up for free all the all kinds of waste that I have minus food waste. So parang, oh, that's interesting. So when they came in here, I actually dropped. They picked up like 20 20 paper bags of like trash that I have. Like we super segregate kasi, and we gave all those to them. So it's not just Salin PH. There's that humble sustainability, and there's actually other refilling stores around you. You just have to look. You can go to and join Facebook communities such as Buhay Zero Waste. And there's lots of people that are hacking their way into reducing less plastic there.
It's very, hope. Parang it gives a lot of hope that more and more people are really understanding the impact of this. And I love what you said, na just say no, because that's also where I started with my zero waste. Sorry, not zero waste journey. Just like the whole sustainability journey. Na I'm a really big fan of the whole refuse thing, because it's one of the easiest things to do if you just really put your mind to it, sort of. Na a lot of people actually appreciate when you tell them na, ay, may dala po akong eco bag, or may dala po akong sariling lalagyan. They will even thank you, and they will even say na, sana lahat ganyan. So it's baby steps, but then you feel that impact. And the hope, of course, and the dream, of course, is that everyone feels that impact too. So Jonas, please go ahead.
Well, my colleagues have already said a lot. All I can say is that you really need something like this requires some deep thought. But if you've already found solutions, try it out. There's no right or wrong solution actually in trying to reduce your plastic wastes. But if you believe that you found that solution, go with it. And encourage others to think about it as well, because it's not just one person. It's not a not in my backyard thing. It's it's really a community thing, and it starts with everyone. Even one person could change the thinking of putting out too much plastic waste. And well, it's something I'd like to shout out as well. Maybe those the ones that do the packaging themselves, maybe you need to think about ways to be more inventive in trying to deliver stuff. And those online stores. And hopefully they can help in the contribution, because I believe they can, and they will. So yeah.
I do know of a couple of initiatives na parang they use cassava bags or something in their online shopping or packaging, and like reduce carbon footprint with their deliveries. But then it's only a few people. So if more people got on that, like if the bigger brands really got on that initiative, then I have so much faith in the fact that ang daming mababago nun. So thank you everyone for that. Actually ends the whole question and answer portion, but I'm inviting and enjoining everyone who is watching right now to please put your questions and type your comments and inquiries down below in the comment section, so that we can have our panelists answer them as well. So that has been episode 2 of the AtoANI Learns series. And, we would thank you for everyone who has shared, who has liked, reacted, and commented, because this is a topic that really is important. Like tonight, we learned that situations such as this really affect so many things, and like our consumption is interconnected. The supply, the demand, the big companies, the small companies, everything is interconnected, and we really have to do our part. Refilling is just one of the things that we can do, but there's more to that. So thank you to Salin for spearheading this initiative na merong ganito, merong there's a local company that's actually actively advocating for not just refilling, but everything else in between, above and beyond it. So thank you so much, you guys. So flashing on the screen right now is the Facebook page and the logo of Salin. So please, everyone who's tuning in right now, please don't forget to give them a follow on Facebook. So you guys will learn so much. And if refills, if rethinking our consumption and considering refills is something that you are considering as a consumer, as a business, as a big business, as a small business, then please do follow Salin Habit on Facebook. And you guys from Salin, I'm giving you the floor now to sort of invite everyone to your page or to your advocacy, or to invite them to consult with you guys and partner with you guys.
Right. So thank you for that. Actually, yes, we want to invite you to join us, actually, to join the refilling habit, or as we call it, the Salin habit. And again, our mission is really to reduce the single-use plastic consumption and dependency of Filipinos by offering refills for your everyday products. So when I say everyday products, it's the staple goods like spices, condiments, beverage, personal care products, home care products. So there's lots. Currently, what we have are spices, and we also have kitchen essentials, and we just onboarded coffee right now. So counting it, we actually have 29 products currently, and you can actually buy that already from us. Just visit our page. Our Facebook and Instagram placeholder is salin.habit. Ayan. And there's actually more products in store for you guys. We actually want to replicate kasi the grocery experience. We want to disrupt the grocery experience such that the things that you would mostly need will already be there, like in all aspects of your life. So yeah, just tune in to our page and like journey with us in our Salin way and build your Salin habit. There.
I love that. Build your Salin habit. So, Donna or Jonas, is there anything that you would also like to add?
Donna first. Donna first.
Hi, Donna first. Go.
I'm just so happy that we were able to have this conversation. And I hope it doesn't end here. And I'm really looking forward to more conversations like this, especially with other brands. This is so important. It's so important to support fellow small businesses. It's so important to continue having this conversation so that more people will be reached. More of our circles will create ripples and hopefully turn into waves. So yeah, I'm follow us on Salin, and if you want to collaborate, just send us a message.
Okay. They've already said all of it. All I can say is that thank you to the organizers of the series, AtoANI. We're actually quite grateful to have met them and to contribute to their series. And we really hope that we could expand this discussion and move forward with innovating ways to find alternative means of packaging and become less dependent on single-use plastics. And if you search us on Facebook, we're quite open to answering any queries about refilling or actually about this topic as well. And hopefully we could arrange more conversations. And with that, yeah, that's Uh, yeah, yeah, I got lost. I
Okay,
guess
that's it.
no,
But
that's it
yeah,
for us. That's it for us at Salin Philippines. Thank you, guys.
thank you so much, Salin Philippines.
Thank you.
The conversations tonight, this is something that will definitely para keep me up at night, but in a good way. So I hope that everyone who is watching from so many parts of the country, actually, Lapu-Lapu, Muntinlupa, from Luzon, Visayas to Mindanao, it's great that this kind of conversation is getting to the consciousness of every Filipino wherever they may be. So thank you also to AtoANI for enabling these kinds of conversations, because without this platform, then it wouldn't even be out here. So with that, I would like to call on one of the representatives from AtoANI and AtoANI Biopack, who heads the strategy, digitization, innovation, and sustainability, and is also a volunteer of Nixon's, if I'm not mistaken. Her line of work is chemical engineering. But like Donna said earlier, it's not about what your industry is. It's about how you contribute to this world that we live in that doesn't care really, essentially, what your industry is, as long as you care for it. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Miss Wilvie from AtoANI. Hi, Wilvie.
Hi, Harmony. Hi. Hello, everyone. Everyone is watching. I think somebody's from Jensen. Somebody's from Muntinlupa, as you mentioned, from other parts of the country. So, hi, everyone. I'm Wilby. I'm also an advocate of sustainability, just like Salin PH here. And actually, we wanted to spread this kind of conversations to, to well, in our small little way, we can help spread awareness about this thing. So I would just like to share a little bit about the statistics. And I think Krishia mentioned it about this statistic about the single-use sachets. That's what they're trying to address at Salin PH. And I think for us, these two statistics resonates as well. And this is what we're trying to address at AtoANI Biopack. So for us, it's more of the biodegradable packaging, and we wanted to make use of bagasse or agro-industrial waste, such as bagasse, as a raw material for this packaging. So to address those two waste, the plastic waste and also the agro-industrial waste. So with this, if anyone in our own little way, actually we want to spread awareness, not only about sustainable packaging, but also about zero waste and sustainability practices, as what you have learned on the tingi and refill economy that Salin PH has generously shared a while ago. And we also hope to showcase more sustainable solutions in our next webinars, and you'll see more about that. So to anyone who wants to take part in this awareness advocacy and share their knowledge and share their expertise, just what like Salin PH did, you may be social enterprises, social zero waste shops, manufacturers, sugar mills, paper, packaging manufacturers, and advocates as well. We would love to connect with you. And also, we're looking for a batch of panelists, again, who would like to share their knowledge. If you're interested to be one of our panelists for the next webinars, and if you want to become one of our webinar moderators, just like Harmony, is really gracious and generous enough to share her expertise to us, you can always connect with us. Feel free to send us a message on our Facebook page at AtoANI Biopack or Instagram at AtoANI_Biopack. Or you can always join our community of advocates through our Facebook group, AtoANI X Sustainable Packaging Advocates. So here we organize webinars such as this one, community online events, collaborations, discussions, and we share firsthand speaker and moderator opportunities in there. So that's in my side. Back to you, Harmony.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ruby. Like she said, if you guys are into sustainability discussions or just anything in that line of thought, no, please do consider being a panelist or even being a moderator. Like I learned so much today, and this is such a humbling opportunity to anyone who takes this task on. So I hope all of our viewers consider, or if you know anyone who you think would be a perfect fit for this series of AtoANI, then don't hesitate to once again follow them on Facebook. That's at AtoANI Biopack and at AtoANI PH for the AtoANI Agriculture. So like we said, this is just the second episode, you guys. There are so many upcoming episodes, and in fact, the next episode is on the 8th of August, and the topic naman is reimagining upcycling under the new normal. So there are so many topics about what the new normal will be like, because this is something that we're still struggling with, or we're still thinking about, or we haven't even really mastered the new normal, so to speak. But let's talk about how we can reimagine upcycling in all of this. So the panelists are ready, the moderators are ready, and if you guys are into learning firsthand and moderating this kind of event, in the next slide you'll see, yeah, just be a moderator just like I did. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in or like what your day job is. If you are passionate about this, about learning about this, about talking about sustainability in the local setting, then we invite you to be a part of this series. So once again, this has been Rethinking Consumption in a Refill Economy. I am your moderator, Harmony Adiao, and I hope you guys learned something tonight. Catch you guys next week on the next episode of AtoANI Learns series. So thank you once again to our gracious panelists, to AtoANI Biopack, the Salin PH. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for enabling this kind of activity, and for everyone tuning in, thank you for giving your time. I hope everyone has a good evening. Stay safe, wash your hands, and wash your lalagyan so that we can refill it with something good next time. Bye, guys.